almost that time. FNCS Grand Finals is only 3 days away now, so I thought it was the perfect time to bring back Hot Takes, the series where I give you guys a platform to voice your concerns and your opinions about FNCS Grand Finals this time. We have a lot of different spicy takes to get into. We're going to see the starts though. Please subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as we upload daily competitive content on this channel for you guys. If you want to support me even more, the best way to do so is by using code KDOG in the Fortnite item shop. If you want to be featured in the next episode of Hot Takes, make sure you guys just follow me on my Twitter. It should be up on the screen right now, because that is where I go and ask for your guys' hot takes. Follow me on my Twitch, also linked in the description down below, because that is where we're going to be watching Grand Finals. So if you want to watch it with me, just make sure you guys go drop a follow. Without further ado though, like I said, we got a lot of spicy takes to get into. Let's just get this video started. This first one we got says Clix's team will not place top 5. He has struggled so much recently, I don't think he can do it. Straight off the bat, I think I just have to fully disagree with this take. The only real tournament that Clix has been struggling in recently was of course his group stage. We've already seen a lot of pros be very vocal about the group stages being so difficult because there's just so much unpredictability in the groups. Since there is just a lot of lower caliber players, we have to remember that Clix is literally coming off of winning the last divisional cup of the season, ending Peterbot's 12 cash cup in a row win streak. If you take a look at their placements from just this season, it's a second, fourth, third, and a first, putting their average placement in stat lobby finals from this season at a 2.4. Clix's trio to me is one of only 3 teams on NA right now that I feel like has real grand finals winning potential, so I think I'm gonna have to disagree with this take. If Surge is removed from Grands, credit to BloodX, we will almost certainly have 70 player half and halves like fall skirmish days. Everyone will just camp, making Grands the easiest to play of all time. I know that last sentence just has to be completely wrong. If there was no Storm Surge in the game, do you know how stacked and how laggy these lobbies would be? Literally every single game would just go to heal off. There would be so much randomness. It wouldn't be how much skill a certain trio has, it would be how many heals they can carry. So saying it would be the easiest Grands of all time to play, I think it would be easier for the worst caliber players since they don't have to get surge tags or anything. But there really wouldn't be any skill to this. I think this is a terrible idea to just completely remove Surge all in general. Surge is a key component of this game that I feel like needs to stay in it. Doesn't need to be reworked 100%. We'll talk about that even more later on with the whole like surge trading debate that we have going on in the community right now, and if pros should be getting banned for doing something like this, or if this is on Epic Games to make a change. But I think it would just be absolutely insane for them to completely remove Surge altogether, literally just 3 days out from Grand Finals. This next one is very interesting to me. It says Ferdoxy will qualify for Grands and contest Vino, ruining his FNCS. Now the first part about Ferdoxy qualifying for Grands I think is 100% a possibility. They literally just won the opens today. They are probably going to be far and away one of the better teams in that set lobby finals. The part that I am really interested about in this is what is Ferdoxy actually going to do if he's able to qualify for Grands? Is he just going to go back to Mass Meadows? And if he does decide to do that, does that mean that Vino is just going to leave the drop spot to go back to the mountain? And so if he does that, then where does MrSavage, Vidil, and Rezon go? There could just be a whole domino effect on the whole entire map if Ferdoxy trio ends up qualifying. And even if they end up qualifying, would Vino rather contest Ferdoxy at Mass or contest MrSavage at Mountain? I really don't know. I feel like both MrSavage's trio and Vino's trio kind of just have to be hoping that Ferdoxy is not going to be qualifying for Grands right now. I tried to do some research to say if Ferdoxy has said anything about him potentially not going Masked in Grands, and I wasn't able to find anything. He is landing there in the last chance qualifier finals though, so EU could get really spicy very soon. Muzz is the second best player on the region and only Peter is above him. Now this is another hot take that I think I'm gonna have to disagree with. I think you can make a real argument, and probably it is just a fact, that Muzz is the second best solo player on NA, just based off the placements alone that we have seen from Muzz this season and last season. But I think it is pretty agreed upon that the second best player on all of NA is either Cold, Poyo, or Agers. I think a lot of people would lean more towards Cold in that discussion as well. If you're talking about just pure fraggers on the region, I think Muzz does have a discussion to be a top 5 fragger on NA, but I don't think there is really any world where you can call him the current second best player on NA. ThomasHD will finish top 5 and qualify for LAN and get the most damage in Grands since Drum Gun. Alright, so for the actual prediction part about ThomasHD, I haven't even made my predictions yet, so I can't say if I agree or disagree with that take. I think it is 100% possible that they qualify for LAN this season. The hot take that I wanted to kind of agree with, and I could really see where you're coming from in this, is the fact where you say that he will finish with the most damage in grants because of the drum gun. I think that honestly is a real possibility. We already know that we usually see him at the top of most damage leaderboards in general, just because of how insane his aim actually is. I'm not 100% sure what this trio's actual surge plan is going into grands yet, but I think that this is a hot take that I kind of want to like half believe in. Peter doesn't get top 2. Nerves will get to Ritual after what happened last grands, and they dud some of their games whilst both Clix's team, Acorn's team, or Khanada's team are being consistent. Now, I do think I have to agree with the part of you saying that the Nerves could potentially get to Ritual. Undeniably, one of the players with the most amount of pressure on him in this whole entire grand finals throughout either NA or EU. Whenever you are playing with two players on the caliber of Cold and Peterbot, and especially Peterbot, and your expectation is either winning or people say that you failed. Like, Ritual went from a player that would have been ecstatic with a top 2 in grand finals, would have been happy with just already being qualified for LAN, but now that he is playing with the best player in the entire world and arguably a top 3 player in the entire world, his whole mindset has had to have changed now, and it's win or bust for that trio. I think also the added pressure of the whole entire community basically flaming you anytime you make a mistake is always going to add some extra pressure onto that situation. I think as a community, we should all try to show Ritual some more support this grand finals. There is probably going to be some moments where he doesn't look like the best player in the entire world. We have to remember that that is not his role on the trio. His role in the trio is to play support, to maximize the potential of Peterbot and Cold, and if he can do that, then that would be considered a successful grands for him. Acorn won't get top 3. The trio has looked shaky as of late, but the big determining factor is that the good teams around their drop spot for this grands. Also, if everyone is surge trading like crazy, they might have a few deaths to surge. I mean, have you been watching the last couple of tournaments or even just any tournament in general? Acorn's team is one of the main accused teams of surge trading. I think if anybody is going to be fined because of the surge trading issue, it is definitely going to be Acorn's trio. I wouldn't necessarily say that they have looked shaky as of late either. These guys' only 2 placements in the cash cups that they played was a 2nd and a 3rd place. I know they didn't look like super crazy in their actual group stage that they played in until they ended up winning the very final game, but I made the mistake of doubting Acorn's trio last grand finals, and I'm not going to make that mistake again. I think they are a top 2 team on NA right now. My hot take is that Bolt's trio will have a good first day, but will dud the second day, just making the top 10. They are overrated and not coordinated. Now, this is a take that's very interesting to me because I have seen a lot of people rating Khanada's trio very highly. I feel like a lot of people are just like automatically penciling them into that 4th place spot. And I don't know if this is just because of their performance last season, but I feel like I am one of the few people that is not just ready to call them the 4th best team on NA. I haven't really seen anything too crazy from these guys. I know that they were able to win game 1 in their group, but in the only cash cup that they played, they finished in 7th place, and they really haven't won any eval games either. I don't think we can say that like the potential on this team is overrated, but I think a lot of people are just being very high on this trio compared to some other teams that we've already seen do better and do more in a longer time period than them. I think that a 4th place is still very possible for this trio. I just don't know if that is where I want to put them at. Not trying to glaze Peter, but he runs through the lobby like it's a pub match. I can see him winning with over 400 points, and then the second one was MrSavage will top 3, but the haters will say that he was getting carried. So the first one, I don't think he's going to win by 400 points. I think Peterbot is probably going to be my grand finals winning prediction, but I think it is still going to be a close grand finals, and I still think that there is a world where Peterbot does not win this grands. And then for the second take about MrSavage getting top 3, I think if there is any world where MrSavage's trio does finish top 3, there is no way that MrSavage can get carried to that 3rd place. He is going to be having to play like one of the best players on that entire trio, one of the best IGLs and tarpers in the entire game, if he wants to pull off a top 3 on the hardest region in the entire world. With all respect to Vidil and Rezon, I don't think they are the caliber of players that can just pull off a top 3 as a duo. MrSavage has already been looking so insane since he has came back. I love the role that he is currently in with tarping and endgame, and his ability to find refreshes has been so impressive to me. I think if they do pull off a top 3, there is no way that the narrative is going to be that MrSavage got carried, because I don't think it is going to be possible for him him to get carried to a top 3. Bucke will top 5 this FNCS. Now this seems to be one of the more like hot takes that I've seen more people starting to come up with over the past like week and a half really. I think Bucke's trio has been one of the teams that has been slowly climbing the tiers of trios on NA. I think when they first formed, this was more of a team that I could see finishing around that 20th range. I think that there is a real possibility that they could pull off a top 10. They were arguably the first or second best team in their entire group. They won in one of the most stacked eval cups that we have seen in a while. Do I think that they're going to be able to top 5? No, I don't think a top 5 is really like in the realm of possibilities for this trio right now. Do I even necessarily think that Bucke is going to qualify for LAN this season? Probably not. I think that this trio though and their fan base should be so happy if they're able to pull off a top 10. We have to remember at the end of the day, this is a double controller trio going into grand finals, and none of these 3 players really have the best grand finals placements even over the past like year and a half at this point. I think there is just a lot more experience and better players in this grand finals, but hey, we all know Bucke's the underdog at the end of the day. I hope that he's able to use this as some motivation to prove me wrong. Do I think a top 10 is possible? Yes. But do I think they're gonna get top 5? No, I honestly really don't right now. Another hot take about Bucke, it says Bucke is one of the best IGLs in NA, only duo controller team to top 10 since 2022. I'm not gonna lie, I think we are just kind of starting to get a little bit crazy. Recency bias is kind of a hell of a drug, and this is like no disrespect to Bucke or his trio or anything either. I think they are one of the best looking teams as of late, but if we're saying Bucke is one of the best IGLs on NA based off of an eval cup and then their performance in like FNCS groups, then I think we are just getting a little bit too far ahead of ourselves right now. Hey, I'm here for a Bucke comeback though. If there is any trio that I want to see prove me wrong, it is 100% these guys. Pigstar Medivh with the buff on their drop spot will get a top 3. And reminder that this is their second ever grand finals. Now, if you don't know, yes, Pump Power did get a buff where they now get 4 extra dill bits, I'm pretty sure. This team did quite literally just get 5th place in last grand finals, which like he said was their first ever grands. So you would kind of just have to assume that they're only going to be improving since then. These guys are also the last Cash Cup winners of the season. I honestly don't even think that this is like that super crazy of a take. I think that it is going to be very difficult for them to pull off a top 3 because there is, just like I said earlier, so many good teams on EU right now. But I have been saying this for a while. This is the future of EU. This trio right here with all 3 of these combinations of players, I don't see a world where they will be splitting up for a while. I think this is 100% a potential LAN qualifying team, and this could be a very similar story to what we saw with Chap and Teeny last season, where I'm pretty sure they finished like second twice in their first ever 2 grand finals. I am very excited to see where this trio goes now. Not insanely hot take, but I think Venya, Pixie, and Marius are easily the best team on EU right now. I think this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about there just being so many good teams on EU right now that I don't think there is really like one far and away better team than everybody else. I think if I had to make my personal prediction for who I think is the best trio on EU, I think I would probably have to go with Queasy, Swizzy, and Murstache. Venya's trio has looked insane in things like eval cups recently. The group stages, they looked really good, and in most of the divisional cups they were playing pretty well as well. But I think that there was a real debate that Queasy was even the best trio last season when they finished 4th place in grand finals while being contested by a whole other trio. So if you're gonna tell me now that Queasy Uncon is somehow not the best team in the world, I think the only trios that I would really listen to that argument for is the team that won FNCS last season of Vico, Vino, and Flixie, just because of how good their fragging power is. And I think there might be some potential conflict in grand finals, as I do see Venya, Pixie, and Marius playing high ground so much, and we know that especially in a grand finals, Queasy's whole motto is take height, don't die. So we could maybe see some conflict between these 2 trios, giving a team like Vico, Vino, and Flixie more room to just frag out on the middle and low ground layers, or even a more consistent team like Camiseti and Hari to do super good as well. It's going to be full of surge trading and a little bit boring to watch if they don't change anything. Now, my opinion on this right now is I think that there is a real possibility that Grands is going to be a little bit boring to watch if they keep this exact same surge trading meta that we are currently in. I think that the end games will still be as hype as ever, but the early and mid games for the teams that are especially not contested, I don't really know what in the world the broadcast is even going to be talking about half the time. I don't even know what necessarily Fortnite could exactly change. Maybe if they tweet something out saying like they're going to start implementing some potential bans or warnings on their account for the teams that are just clearly surge trading, which there is a lot of them, then maybe this would scare people a little bit more to not surge trade as much. But that is kind of just the meta that that we are currently in, and I think there needs to be a meta change for this to really improve. I think I like this take a lot right here. It says Surge will be horrendously high throughout the whole tournament, so that this grand finals will mark a great turning point and competitive, as Storm Surge will be reworked as a whole. So this is a possibility of something that I could see happen. If the trading does stay as bad as it currently is right now, Epic Games is going to be forced to rework something to try to improve this for the future seasons. What could they actually even try to change? I have literally no clue, but I mean, hey, that's why it is a good thing I'm not employed to make those types of decisions. But I do like your point here, saying that this could be a turning point in competitive, and there is a real possibility that Storm Surge gets reworked as a whole. Every single tier 1 team Surge trading should be banned for teaming. Now this is a very interesting one that I have seen some people's opinion be really passionate about. I think the thing about this is Peterbot really said it best. Fortnite is not going to do anything about it since all of the top pros are doing it. If this was a thing where there's only like 1 or 2 trios doing it, maybe I could see them making an example out of somebody, but you really can't make an example out of all of the top 8 trios on all of NA, because one, that would be super bad for the viewership, super bad for the competitive players in general. I think it would make a big mark and show that Fortnite really does not tolerate cheating at all. But if we're just being real here, Fortnite is a business at the end of the day. They're trying to get as many eyes on their product as possible, and if all of their top players are banned for teaming, then that really doesn't set the best look in the public image for Fortnite either. Could you imagine the headlines for Fortnite if everyone was talking about how basically every single top pro in the world was just banned for teaming and cheating? That is not the public image that Fortnite wants. So I just don't think anything is going to happen to these pros that are Surge trading right now. Other than that though, I feel like we got to hear a lot of different opinions in today's video. Let me know what you guys think about every single one of these takes that we went over. Remember, subscribe to the channel if you guys are new, as we try our best to upload daily competitive content for you guys. Please just go K-Dog in the Fortnite item shop if you want to support me even more. YouTube says enjoy one of these 2 videos up on the screen right now, so go check them out if you guys haven't already. Follow me on my Twitter at K-Dog to keep up to date with everything to do with Fortnite competitive. Thank God for another day, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.